Let's look at some old school Space Marines. Hello, hobby friends. Today we're going to be looking at the Gundam Amazing, just kidding, they're Space Marines. So I got a whole bunch of different bits and stuff here, but what we're really going to be looking at today are these guys. So in between projects, I've been working here and there on different Space Marines. I've been kit bashing, fixing up from various eBay lots and stuff. Just like, I like to rewatch my favorite anime or like listen to lore videos while working on these various guys. If you've never listened to something while working on some Warhammer, you gotta try it. It's awesome. Maybe an audiobook. Anyway, let's get these guys dumped out. And I'll be starting with my sergeants. So this is the first of the guys I'm going to be going over in this video that I kit bashed. I just had a whole bunch of Marines just lying around, a whole bunch of bodies, weapons, and stuff that needed to be pieced together, and I pieced most of them together, so yeah, I'll be going over all the kit bash modifications and stuff. This guy has a magnetized bolt pistol, so I can swap it out if I want to. The various arms and stuff, so the arms here are held on by peg joints that I drilled and inserted. So unlike a magnetized joint, these are going to hold their pose pretty well. They're not going to move around, not going to budge. I can pick up the miniature by the sword. It's not like, flopping around like it would with magnets. Anyway, the sword, I believe, get this out, come on. Well, I can't get it fully out, but okay. You can see that the sword is held in by a metal pin. It's just a piece of armature wire. I don't think I can get it out, but you know what? Yeah, it's pretty solid. I can repose it if I want to, and then it'll just like hold that pose until the next time I adjust the sword. I like that because it lets me, putting in these little joints here, it seems tedious, but one, it ensures it's not going to break off, and two, I can make sure that my Marine has the exact pose I want without having to commit to that pose. So I do a lot of pinning, and sometimes magnetizing too, but a lot of pinning with pegs, plastic pegs, and metal rods and stuff. Like, and the by the way, these metal rods can be cut with side cutters. Let me just something like this is good enough to cut armature wire. Do I have some armature wire lying around? Yes, I do. Boop, boop, boop. This is the kind I used, just a big piece. Just sort of doing this off the cuff, and there we go. See, I just cut my small piece. That's basically what I used. Guess you could also use them for like shell casings or something if you want to like sprinkle them on a base. But anyway, this is a Grey Knight sword. A friend of mine has Grey Knights that gave me all the extra weapons, and they have a ton of extra weapons, including a lot of power swords. So, Sergeant with a Grey Knight power sword. You know, once I paint him up, you'll like, unless you're a Grey Knight player, you won't be able to tell pretty much at all. So if you look here, I did put this little skull on his head. I don't know where I got that, but I cemented it on there. And yeah, he has a banner pole. With the top of the banner pole is polymer clay. The metal parts are paperclip. Someone suggested a while ago I use something that's not paperclip, but paperclip's easy to cut. I can't use these on paperclip. I have to use, grab another tool. I actually use these to cut paperclip. I use this part right here to cut my paperclip. And then I use these on armature wire and plastic and stuff. So, yeah, that's the first guy. And I got a bunch more guys to talk about. Might as well just start now. Oh, look at that. So, this guy. Now, the rest of these aren't in any particular order. That was the first one, this guy over here. But anyway, I think it's cool to have, when I have a guy in a pose like this with two different weapons, here's a pistol and a chainsword, I like to have one weapon be the focus. So in both of these, the pistol is the focus. On something like this, it's the power fist that is the focus of the miniature. But anyway, this dude, I cut a custom tilt shield out of plastic card. The arm, I think the arm, not the shoulder pauldron, but the arm and the chainsword itself is one piece. I put some steel ball bearings down there, 1.5 millimeter, just 3 of them, just, you know, add something cool. Holster for the bolt pistol. This is an older bolt pistol, but I put it on a newer hand because I wanted it to be in the opposite hand, I think. I did have to cut the arm apart and repose it, and I drilled, well, I mean, you can see the work I did in there. I even put like plastic card on the lower part of the bicep, and I trimmed that. The pauldron here is made of polymer clay, and it's actually stretched a bit wider because I guess the original shoulder wasn't shaved down enough. Another polymer clay banner topper. This backpack came from a kit that my friend painted. It was like one of those red plastic ones. I have one of the guns over here. But anyway, he painted it. He stripped the paint off, or maybe I stripped the paint off, don't remember. And this is the leftover paint, and it's smooth to the touch, so it should be fine once I paint it. As you can see, this arm is also held on by a peg. It's a little bit loose, but you know what? I can always tighten that up with super glue or cement or something. I think I pretty much know what the pose I want, so I could probably just use cement. Probably before I prime it. Another magnetized bolt pistol. And yeah, this guy's looking pretty cool. Next one is this Blood Angel guy. Now this guy, I guess he's supposed to be like a veteran sergeant because I gave him these skulls on his backpack, and I've decided that all of my veterans are going to have skulls for the little vents. I used to think these were thrusters. When I was a kid, I thought these were thrusters that would like launch the Space Marine up, so he could like, not like a jetpack, but like he could have like enhanced jumps or something. But I think they're just vents. But there's also a vent down here and up here, so I don't know. Gotta get the backpack with a skull on it. Totally. These are made of polymer clay, and I copied these from the backpack to a pewter Dark Angels character. So these were copied from a pewter backpack, and I just stuffed clay into the mold. And each one of these takes like 1 session in the oven because I can't take the clay out until it's solidified. So I only have so many of these. But my cat is meowing at me. And it was also a good excuse to use these Dark Angel iconography things, like on the bolt, you know, the bolt gun right here. This thing was actually halfway down here. It was actually like, so let's use this. So this little blood drop here was in the center of the pauldron, and the wing kept conflicting with like every backpack and every pose. So I moved it to the front so you can see it more easily from the front, which is how you're probably going to look at the miniature anyway. And it doesn't conflict with the backpack. And it also makes sense in universe. You don't want the shoulder pauldron decorations to be like, you know, clipping with anything. So yeah. And also this is not a Blood Angel's head. It's from the I want to say the Vanguard Veteran box. But it looks Blood Angels-y to me. So yeah. Oh, also almost forgot. The top of the banner pole is a chalice. I made this out of extra runner from a Gundam kit. So this is just a plastic cylinder. I shaved the bottom down to make it more rounded, drilled holes. Yeah, so I used armature wire here. So yeah, it's a chalice banner pole topper. It's slightly asymmetrical, but I think it's fine. Once I paint it up, I don't think anyone's going to notice. And it's just a nice little thing because a lot of my banner pole toppers, I have a few different molds and a lot of them look the same. So it's nice to have a different one so you can pick this guy out just in the banner pole because it's got a chalice on it. Yeah. And next we have this guy, and this is my Shakespearean guy. He's giving a speech, a rousing speech. I have a Primaris, I think it's an assault, the Primaris assault guys with the chainswords. I forgot what they're called. It's the first box of guys I got, so I should know what it's called. But anyway, someone asked in the comments for my last video, I think, like what I think of mixing and matching new and old Space Marine parts for kit bashing. And to be specific, I think larger parts on smaller models is less noticeable than smaller parts on larger models. Because you want the arms, like in terms of human proportions, you want the arms, like the hands should at least reach the bottom of the waist. As long as they do that, like otherwise they look too short. But if an arm is like 20% longer than it should be, it's less noticeable than if an arm is 20% shorter than it should be, or 10%, whatever. Anyway, I take the arms off this guy because I want to show this off. So if you look at this guy, like look at this pose. If I hold this guy flat, you can see that he's like, the torso is leaning too far back and the head is pretty much cemented in there. The only way I could get this guy apart is if I sawed him apart. The backpack, head, chest, and legs were all like one unit. There's pretty much nothing I could do about that. That's the downside to these multi-part kits, is that if you get them like pre-made, like the previous owner might have like, you know, maybe they assembled them, but like the parts shifted as the cement was like, you know, cementing. So like I think it's one of the reasons Games Workshop moved away from ball joints, because like there were just a lot of miniatures where like the arms weren't, or like the torso, the head, whatever. Heads are fine, but yeah, you know, the torsos can be sort of like skewed to one side if you don't cement it like perfectly. I like to like, you know, sand them down and super glue them, or like put like a peg in there or something. But anyway, this guy, what I'm trying to get at is that sometimes you get these bodies that have these wonky poses, and this guy's leaning far, like he's leaning pretty far back. Here we go. So he's leaning sort of far back. It's sort of, yeah, he's almost looking up. So I was like, well, what can I do with this pose? And then I thought, what if I give him a power fist, but I raise it up? And so it looks like he's like beckoning to something, like he's beckoning to a future where Space Marines have, you know, defeated all of the Xenos and all of the Chaos or something. He's giving a rousing speech to his subordinates during one of the few lulls in the battle. So anyway, yeah, I imagine this guy is like giving some kind of charismatic speech. And I think the open palmed, like the open power fist from this Primaris kit that I stole this from, I think that fits well, because if it was a fist, it'd be okay, but like having an opened power fist is more of a gesture, which I think plays towards the pose I chose. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. Now this guy's not exactly a sergeant, but I'm really proud of this guy. I think technically he's just a normal tactical Marine, but I tried to, because like a lot of tactical Marines just have like a bog standard pose with just a guy with a gun. This is one of the Marines where it's like backpack, Marine, and gun, and I had to fit a new gun on there. And yeah, this gun didn't originally go to that model, but anyway, I think it's a Blackreach model. Anyway, this guy. So you know, I just really get out a hobby knife. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, I have some cardboard underneath my cutting mat here, you know, okay, for any like in case I spill something. Anyway, stuff on this knife. So so I wanted this guy to be gesturing with the bolt gun to the side. This bolt gun originally had a hand on it, so I cut that off, and this is a piece of, let's see, this is a piece of hobby grade plastic card. Let me get out an actual piece for you to see. Boop, boop, boop. So this is hobby grade plastic card, and I used a little bit here, and you can, I actually used like that little section right there near the end, and I just carved it down until it looked like a handle. And yeah, it doesn't look like that's not what the bolt gun handle's not supposed to look like that, but at least not exactly like that. But once I paint it, no one's ever gonna notice. It's fine. More clay pauldrons, whatever, one pauldron. I decided to put some pouches here on the front as like a skirt, because I wasn't sure where to put these. I couldn't find a comfortable place to put them. On the leg, like they don't, like if these are the pauldron, I'm just gonna zoom out. If these are the pouches, they're not curved enough. They're not bent enough relative to each other. So the only comfortable place I could find was on the front here, and I think it's cool. It's like one of those skirts that the veterans have, but it's more tactical because it's pouches. And he's got some clay pouches on his legs here to like make him look more tactical. He's got his tactical auspex scanner. Put some other decorations on him. And I'm most proud of this. This is a piece of cardboard and some wire from an ornament, I want to say. Let me get closer here. And is that broken off? Well, it doesn't seem broken off, so I'm not going to push it. And on the back here is a different wire, because I had a green one on the back here, like on the front. That broke off, so the one back here is of a thicker gauge, but that's fine. You're never really going to notice that. And yeah, so I just have two pieces of cardboard just going in here. Don't remember if I Mod Podged these or not. I'll Mod Podge them like before I paint it. It's fine. So yeah, I mean, you can just take a normal bolt gun and just turn it into one of those bolt guns with a sash, because you know what? There just aren't enough bolt guns that are like saddled under the arm. And like, I do have one guy here who has a bolt gun who's like, he's like holding it like from the bottom, not from like, anyway, but like there need to be more bolt guns that are like not being used, like this one. Like, yeah, like this bolt gun is sort of like, you know, sort of like like strung, whatever, saddled underneath the backpack, which I think is nice. But yeah, like, you know what, just because Games Workshop doesn't make bolt guns that are sort of like stowed away doesn't mean you can't convert your own bolt guns to be stowed away. And not all of them have to be like this. Like I can have this, and then I can have like probably have like a sergeant, and then I'll have like 3 normal tactical marines, and as like you can have a bunch of normal tactical marine sculpts as long as like 1 or 2 guys look interesting. I think my rule of thumb is like if I have a squad of 5 marines, I want 2 of them to have cool sculpts. If I have a squad of 3, then one of them's gonna have a cool sculpt or a cool kit bash. You know what I mean? So yeah, enough about this guy. Let's move on. Yeah. And this guy's pretty basic, just a Mark 6 sergeant looking dude. I have a hole for the banner pole. A hole for the pole hole. When I eventually put a banner pole in there. Gave him a new backpack, because I actually took this backpack from one of the newer Mark 6s, and I have a couple over to the side, so I'll show those off later. You can see I couldn't get the primer off the torso when I stripped the paint off, but that's fine. I'll just paint right over it. I think this... So yeah, these grenades are made of polymer clay here, and these ones are made of milliput, and they look pretty much the same. But yeah, I used one of the fancy Vanguard veteran pistols, because this guy's got a fancy pistol. And the last guy here of my fancy character guys is an apothecary. Now yeah, I couldn't get all of the blue primer off. I'm guessing this is Citadel primer. As you can see here, there's a white mark on the trim for the shoulder pauldron here, as well as on the back here, because it was heavily gouged by whoever cut this out. And I had to fill it. I think I used super glue. No, I think I used plastic cement and plastic card. Anyway, I put a large scrap of plastic there, and then once, like a day later, once it was solidified, I carved it down, and now it's a seamless piece of trim. You can never tell that there was a big gouge there. Here, I just shaved it down because it was shallow enough. This guy's got a really tall banner pole. I think I actually ripped it out and shortened it at some point. But yeah, I couldn't think of a good pose for the right arm, so I just, can it tilt? No, I think I glued it in place. This arm is on a peg though. Anyway, yeah, this arm looks awkward. This arm is also sort of awkward, but he's like shooting from the hip, sort of, I want to say. It's sort of like he's about to attend to someone, and he's like, oh, there's an enemy over there. So he just shoots like a termagant that was like feigning death. He's like, and he's like, okay, time to actually get to whatever it is that apothecaries do. So yeah. And now I'll go over the tactical marines in a moment, but first I just want to show off some of these guys. So here I have 3. I actually have a whole bunch of heavy weapon squads. Like more than half of the marines here are all heavy weapon squads. And I'm doing 1-page rules, so you need 3 heavy weapon, like 3 guys per squad. These are like the OPR versions of Devastators. 3 guys per squad. And yeah, you can see I have more granite weapons from my friend. These are opposite facing because this one, it has a hand down there, was meant to be held by one of the Grey Strike peoples. This one was meant to go on a Dreadnought, I want to say. Oh, no, the Dread Knight. I think it's the Dread Knight. Anyway, as you can see here, I took a piece of Warhammer sprue, I drilled a hole through it, put a piece of armature wire. I have a clay hand and a handle meant for a melee weapon. I molded this because I intended to use it for melee weapons. But there's a little bit of flashing there. Can I carve that off? Maybe I'll do it later. Anyway, but here I'm using it as a handle for the gun, and once I paint this, it should look fine. I can enhance, like, yeah, the detail on the fingers is a little, actually, you know what? Never mind, it's not that bad if I, have the shadows casting from the side. But, the head came out of a 1-part mold of Oyumaru, so I just I just pressed some oil remover over a head, and now I have multiples of these heads. I have another one here. It's the same head from the same sculpt, or the same oil remover thing. But on this one, the light on the head didn't fully form, so I just super glued or plastic cemented. Polymer clay works with plastic cement, so it's fine. But I put a little piece of Gundam runner here, and then once it was fully on there, I snipped it off and flattened it out. And I'll just hand paint the light on there. So I'll do like the rim and the glowing middle, you know. I need some water. Oh yeah, I'm keeping that in. Anyway, and then I took this extra piece of hose and I glued this on the side just to make the gun look a little bit less flat. I think it's cool. And also to connect the casing here, the ammo cartridge up here. Or wait. Yeah. Wait, did this one have two? Yeah, okay, so they both have two. I wasn't sure if I added one of these tanks, but they were both already there. One of the studs here broke off when I was drilling into the pauldron, so I had to replace it with a metal stud. So I have a metal stud replacing polymer clay studs on a plastic miniature. Totally. I had to extend the wrist here. There's hope you don't mind me going through all those individual little details. And you know what? This piece of Warhammer sprue here, like, I don't like using the Warhammer sprue, and some other miniature companies also have the same trapezoid, profile for their sprues. I'm guessing it's trapezoid because it comes out of the mold easier. That's just my guess. But it's pretty obvious when you use sprue in a build. But for something like this, I don't think you're ever going to be able to tell really, especially once it's painted. And I also added that little bit of plastic art at the bottom, so it's more of a pentagon instead of a trapezoid now. Anyway, this guy's more of the same. The only real thing that I did differently, well, one, I added this thing on the backpack. I think it's either an orc kit or some kind of dreadnought or something, I don't know. Imperial Guard? I don't know. Something. But I have this polymer clay arm, and this arm is the forearm here is a bit longer than like this one. You can see how long this arm is, and then how long this one is. And actually, you know what? Let me see if I can get these arms to be side by side. Maybe, maybe not. But you can see the orange one's a bit longer. I know these are both copies, but like the orange arm here was taken from the weapon. So it's taken from the arm that's supposed to go underneath a bolt gun, and I basically extended it. With this wrist section here, I broke off the fingers and reposed them so that the fingers are angled with the gun, because the gun is not perpendicular to the hand. Normally the gun is perpendicular to the hand, but I wanted the gun to be tilted because the arm, like there wasn't enough space over here. The hand should be here. But again, this weapon isn't intended to be held like this, or, well, technically it is, but I didn't have the extra arm because I'm assuming my friend, he used the arm this was meant to go with. So I had to replace it myself, and I had to tilt the arm out. So this arm is actually a bit longer than it should be. It's already a long forearm with a wrist extension. But you know what? Just don't pay it much attention, and it's fine. I also added this thing up here because this is another copied head, and yeah, if you want to make your copied parts look a little bit more detailed, or like less like copies, just add a few details here or there. This one only has one. And beaky heads don't normally have this. Polymer clay is a bit easier to drill out, so I could add this more easily. And then this guy, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm using Grey Knight, Grey Knight heavy flamers. This is heavy flamers. Yeah, this is a heavy flamer squad. The heavy flamers don't come with Devastators. So the classic, like the more modern-ish plastic Devastator kit, I actually bought one for 9th edition. And I lost all my games because I had Firstborn. But the Devastator, the most recent of the Devastator plastic kits for Firstborn, for 40k proper, specifically, that one had 2 Laz Cannons, 2 grav cannons, 2 plasma cannons, 2 heavy bolters, 2 missile launchers. Did I ever say that? I don't know. And 2 multi-meltas. So they had, I think I listed all 6. They had 6 heavy weapons, 2 of each. So that's enough weapons for like 3 Devastator squads in one box. So if you bought 1 box of Devastators, 1 box of Tactical Marines, you could actually make 3 boxes of Devastators from only 2 boxes with pure Games Workshop plastic. And nothing, and like that would only be cement, like kit bashing. You're only swapping the parts. What I did was basically like kit bashing in hard mode here, so But yeah, the Devastator box comes with 2 copies of 6 different heavy weapons. It does not come with the heavy flamer. Guess what the default weapon for one-page rules Devastators are? Yeah, it's the heavy flamer. So the cheapest weapons for these guys in OPR is the heavy flamer, and it's the one I have the least of. So I had to kit bash these other 2 guys, and now I have a whole squad of heavy flamers for one-page rules. So if I want to have like a cheaper Devastator squad, I got that right here. Sorry it took so long to talk about this, but if you like kit bashing firstborn Marines, you probably don't mind. I've got a lot more Marines to go, so let's get to it. Okay, and speaking of using the Devastator weapons, I have 2 more Marines here. These are the brand new, well, not like brand new for like in terms of age, but like they were firsthand. I bought these. I bought a box in my local game store of Devastators, and these are the Laz Cannons. I only have 2 because I guess they only come in the Devastator box. Maybe they come elsewhere. Anyway, the Devastator weapons come with 1 arm, the whole gun with the arm and shoulder pauldron attached, and the backpack. All you have to do is find the body, the head, and 1 pauldron, and then you can turn all the Devastator weapons into extra guys. So yeah, these guys are just torso, legs, head, pauldron, and everything else is from the Devastator kit. So the Devastator kit comes with a ton of stuff, and you can easily combine brand new Devastator parts with eBay Marine bodies and just, fill out your ranks with all your extra bits. Devastator box is an insane value. But anyway, getting to more of these guys. I keep clicking my tongue for some reason. Anyway, these are the extra, not extra, but these are some of the Horus Heresy Mark 6, the newer beakies. And they actually look really nice with these giant hulkin bulkin heavy bolters on them. So these are the 40k heavy bolters on 30k bodies with 30k heads. I drilled out this one guy's eye here and inserted a rod to make him more of like a Devastator looking head. And here's the normal one. But I'm thinking these guys are looking pretty sweet. The weapons were a bit big, like you can see on this guy, or especially the grav gun dudes. Oh my god, the weapon is huge. Like it's covering up like 70% of that body, pretty much. It's so freaking huge. The dude looks like he's carrying a giant box that happens to be shaped like a gun, But these heavy bolters just look right at home on the slightly larger 30k bodies. Yeah. Excuse me. And of course, that's where I got the extra backpack, because since this guy has a new backpack, he doesn't need the old one. So I put one of them on this dude. And that way I get a modern, Mark 6 backpack to make this guy look a little bit better. But of course, I need 3 guys per squad. The grav guns are a special case, but I tried to make as many of these squads, 3 as possible. So the 3rd guy is this dude. And I actually got this pewter bolt gun, heavy bolt gun, pewter heavy bolter, from the same eBay lot that I got the Guard Sentinel that I used in one of my Tyranid videos. The Guard Sentinel I put on the base of the Screamer Killer. Well, I actually copied it, but like the that Guard Sentinel came from the same one as this. I think they were like all 3rd edition stuff, not sure. But there was no backpack here. So in one of my lots, don't remember which one, I got the back half, or front half, however you look at it, I got half of the backpack. So I actually took a different backpack and I had to kit bash / scratch build the rest of the backpack so I could then fit it with this pewter heavy bolter. And you know what? I think this heavy bolter is slightly smaller than the plastic one, just a little bit. I had to so these heavy bolters, the front of the bolt gun is 2 pieces. So I actually, you know what? I don't think I finished. You know what? Let's just do a little bit of this. There we go. Now it's flat, more or less. But this one I had to fix seam lines because it was 2 pieces. On this one, it was 1 piece, so I had to drill it out. And just look at that shine in the hole. If you ever drill holes in pewter guns, you get this really cool, like, conical, reflective action going on inside of that. Well, that's because my, my drill bits are like, they have a conical end on them. So I just think that looks really cool. I'll hit it with black paint so it won't be shiny when I'm done with it, but I love how it looks before it's painted. It just looks really nice. And it's actually like shinier metal than the rest of it because this is fresh pewter that was exposed when I drilled it. So it hasn't, like, doesn't have that oxidized or whatever coating on it. I did have to strip the paint off of like most of these guys, so yeah. So apparently it's been so long since I've assembled and fixed these guys up that I totally forgot that this backpack was loose on a peg joint. So let's take that off. There we go. So as you can see here on this this heavy bolter backpack, what I actually ended up doing was, in order to mimic the actual backpack, I actually had to cut the backpack piece in half vertically and put some plastic card. Here I have 1mm and 0.5mm plastic card, I think that's the thickness, in here to space this backpack apart, and then once it was there, I trimmed it down so it matched the silhouette. Now if you look at the backpack here, here, there actually is this angled part. So from the top surface it angles outwards, then angles inwards. On mine, it just goes straight and it doesn't angle down to the backpack. I couldn't be bothered to actually copy that over. I mean, once it's painted, you're probably not going to be able to tell anyway. I also had to lengthen the backpack vertically. So you can see all the plastic card I ended up adding there. I added a bit of plastic here to bridge the gap between the backpack and the ammo feed. On the older, on the newer plastic, like, it just fits perfectly like a dream. But on these older pewter ones, not just the heavy bolter, but even like the Laz Cannon, you can see I had to put a bit of plastic card here. And this is an issue I had on all of the pewter Laz Cannons. I'm only showing 3 of them right now, but all of them had this issue of not purely fitting, not like intrinsically fitting. Anyway, looking at the backpack there, I just got reminded of another thing. So here on the plastic backpack here, or rather the actual one that's meant to be put on a heavy bolter Space Marine, you can see that the vent that was over here has been moved to this side, or no, sorry, actually the vent over here is missing, so you only have vents on this side of the bottom of the backpack. Did I forget to trim that mold line? There we go. Let's just do that. Okay. But on this one, so I actually ended up making this part of the backpack sit a little bit too low. That's fine. But this vent could still be there underneath the ammo feed. But the upper of these 2 vent sections I actually moved over here. So unlike the other one, this one actually has 3 vents on this side, and then it still retains the 1 vent on this side. I'll just take the other one for comparison. But yeah, 2 vents on this one, 3 vents on my kit bashed one. And I think it looks pretty cool. It'll look better once it's painted again. I mean, everything looks better once it's painted. But just a few other differences and things I wanted to mention. And yeah, you know what? It might be ridiculous to drill a hole for the peg. Sorry, drill a hole and put a peg in for the backpack. But I do that not for all my backpacks. Sometimes I plastic cement them. Like, this one was entirely plastic cemented, no drilling holes or inserting pegs. And it was actually a nice break from all this crazy kit bashing. You can see on some of these guys, like this guy, his whole torso, like his whole chest is made of polymer clay because I was running out of them. And that was not the most fun thing to do. It's not fun pinning pewter into polymer clay, especially when the polymer clay is the kind that cracks apart. I have learned my lesson, and I'm using a polymer clay that doesn't crack as easily now, but that's not fun. So it was really nice to just take a break and work on just a pure plastic kit bash where I could just cement some arms and backpack onto a body and call it a day. This is one of the easiest kit bashes I've ever done. And this one, because of the backpack, definitely was not an easy kit bash. So very contrasting kit bash complexities here. But yeah, I think they look cool. So yeah. Now the next squad here are the missile launcher guys. Now I didn't have enough backpacks. I think I'd also I actually 3D printed this backpack. I found a free STL online and I printed it. I printed one facing down like this and the other one standing up, and I think this is the facing down one. I think this is before I was good at like removing the support, so there's a little bit of damage right here, a little bit of it like cracked off, and you can see that reflective part, but it's gonna be facing downwards. It's fine. Yeah, my mouth is really dry because I tend to be nervous when I do audio. So, but yeah, just basic guy there, right there. This dude has the missile effect from one of my Devastator bits, and this missile launcher, the body came in one lot and the front of it came in a different lot, and they just happened, you know, to go to the same missile launcher, so I put them together. It's all good. This dude, so I put the backpack on him, then later on I 3D printed this one out, and I would have put the other backpack on him, except I had already installed these cables here as a little detail for anyone who looks closely. You won't be able to see it actually, never mind, but I know it's there. These came from like an extra gun or something, maybe from the Primaris Eradicators, not sure, but I have them connecting the yeah, I guess it's supposed to, because like you have a power cable going from the bottom of the bazooka all the way to the pauldron, and then I continued those from the pauldron to the backpack. So kept the original, or the non, you know, missile launcher backpack there. But the coolest one, this is one of the coolest guys I kit bashed right here, is this dude. So this is the other resin backpack I printed, and look at that arm. So as it turns out, you can, now the backpack, the free one I got, had it with and without an arm. I printed this one without, and I completely built this from scratch. The claw is again made of that, it's made of that hobby grade plastic card. I got another one, boop, boop, boop. So it's made of this stuff. So yeah, the claw there is made of that hobby grade plastic card that comes with bread for some reason. I have some more Gundam runner, sprue, whatever. You know, I drilled holes and inserted armature wire to give these hinges a bit more detail. And then I made a telescoping arm, because I mean, I guess so. Like this one, you can see it's like a normal like human hinged arm where there's like a shoulder, a bicep, elbow, forearm, and then the claw. But on this one, I thought it'd be cooler and make more sense. Like it would like have more of a mechanical feel if I made a telescoping arm. Whoops. So this whole shaft here would retract back into the housing for the piston, and then it'd probably like have the claw down here, take up only that much space, and then it like rotates up here on a ball joint with a rotary thing down here, and it's going to telescope out. And of course I had to have this guy holding, so like, I mean, I could have had him with the normal bazooka pose, but I wanted him to be like reloading the bazooka, so that's what the arm is in front. The arm was the last thing I added pretty much. I already had him reloading. The hand here is, I can rotate it. There we go. I can rotate the hand. This is another one of those hands that was meant to be holding a bolt gun. And I chopped part of the thumb off and then glued it back on a little bent, so it looks like it's actually holding onto this ammo piece. The normal rockets for the missile launcher look like these skinny ones, but I carved a new one out of more Gundam Runner. Gundam Runner is so useful. Get like one modern master grade and you have so many runner pieces. I actually tapered the bottom inwards a little bit to make a thruster, and then drilled the hole for the, you know, whatever. Yeah, and then this guy has custom cables, because I wanted this missile launch to be further down, but the power cables were clipping into the leg, so I replaced them with new power cables. New power cables made of armature wire. This is a slightly more bendy armature wire than this one. This one's a bit tougher. This one's a bit more bendy. That's just how it is when I got it. But I used that to my advantage, and I bent it to fit over the knee, so it looks like the power cables are draping over the leg, which I think is cool. A whole bunch of details, put some wires in the head. Not sure if I like those, but they're there, so, you know. Missile Squad. Oh and yeah, I just can't rant enough about this custom arm. I just love the way it looks. And you know what? I think it's important to acknowledge how much you like your own miniatures, because you know the person who should like a miniature the most is the person who made it, the person who painted it. You know, I think it's important that people value their miniatures, and I definitely value this guy because I think his arm looks so cool. Yeah. Okay, got more water, and continuing on. What was that? Anyway, so I this is the second guy I think I made. This is yeah, Multimeteor. There we go. Okay, so this is a Multimeteor. And I put this guy, I put it on the legs here. The legs are an assault squad legs. They're meant for the guys that have the jetpacks, you know, the jump packs. But you know what? Like, why do people never have their heavy weapon guys running? Because it makes sense, right? Like, if you have a heavy weapon, like Space Marines are tough, right? Like, I've heard that, like, despite how bulky they look, they sprint like faster than Olympic sprinters or something. Like, they're insanely fast because they're wearing, like, you know, they're like super muscular and they're wearing power armor on top of that. So to me, like, I think it's cool to have a dude with a heavy weapon just like sprinting up the battlefield with his Multimeteor. Yeah. I do want to have a squad of 3 of these, so I printed out some retro looking Multimeteors based on like 2nd edition or whatever. I'll be doing those at some point, but one Multimeteor guy for now. And now it's time for Laz Cannons. Oh, and by the way, whenever I drop these guys, so like a lot of these have pewter Laz Cannons, pewter arm, both arms are pewter, and pewter backpack. So when I drop them, they actually land upside down perfectly. It is insane. Like here, let me show you. Okay, well, not that guy. Let's see. Can I do more? Actually, there we go. There we go. See, these guys love to land upside down if they can help it. Oh my god. It is like can you imagine dropping a Space Marine and they land perfectly upside down like they're doing a handstand? That is how top heavy these guys are. If these guys were dice, they'd be super loaded. Anyway. So I'm not going to go over each one individually. I'm just going to go over some highlights. So these guys are just so originally I got an eBay lot of do I have one original one? I think I took all these Laz Cannons off of the original bodies. Each one was on a beaky body with beaky legs and a beaky head. But I took all these were originally these were pinned onto the original torsos. Let's see. I think one of the beakies I covered earlier was originally one of the torsos. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, these were originally pinned onto their plastic torsos when I got them off of eBay. They were using small round steel rods. I don't know what the rods are from. I think I have one over here. So this is one of the steel rods. Wait, is that paperclip? Oh, sorry, that's paperclip. I know I have the rods here somewhere. I got this magnet that has all these little metal things on it. When you do a lot of kit bashing, you end up with a lot of extra stuff. Wait, are they not here? Wait, maybe they're over here. Are they here? Are these the rods? No, you know what? I have the... I'm gonna check for a moment. Okay, I got them. They were on a different magnet, but these are the rods that were originally there. I have some other bits on here. But I don't know what rods these are. They're just like perfectly round steel rods. They don't have the flat sections like my paper clips do. I haven't tried cutting them or anything. I don't want to ruin my tools. But these must have been pinned a long time ago. And some of them were like slightly bent, so I had to like bend in my hand. You're supposed to heat up pewter and then rebend it. I couldn't be bothered, or I couldn't figure out how to do it safely, so I did end up sanding the top of these because like they had these nasty mold lines going down the top. And like old stuff should technically have better mold lines because the longer a mold is used, the more mold degradation there's going to be. So like sometimes there are Gundam models where like if you have a choice between getting the reprint of a model or getting like one of the earlier runs that's just been sitting in a warehouse or something, you want to get the one that was printed a long time ago because it's going to have less degradation. But anyway, I had to sand the top of these, so they're extra, like the top of these ends of the Laz Cannons here are extra shiny, and they feel really smooth. Very smooth. Oh, it's a very nice texture. It's like satiny. Anyway, two of these guys are, so have plastic ones, again from the Devastator box, and they are beakies. Actually, this dude, I think this is one of the original bodies that the pewter ones were on, but now it's plastic. And they both have a this is not a Mark 6, it gets technically like a Mark 5 pauldron. This is a pauldron that has shoulder trim and studs. Normally the ones that have, did I give these guys? Yeah. So I gave these guys, the ones with the heavy bolters, these Mark 6 have the, they have their Horace, Horus Heresy. Okay, they have their Horus Heresy. I have trouble with R's, so that's a hard one for me to say. But, like normally the studded pauldrons don't have the trim, but I want to be different, and these ones have the trim on them, so that's going to be extra fun to paint, and it'll stand out, I think, once it's painted. One has the Devastator legs on them. And then some of these scopes actually broke off. I know one scope was bent, so when I was bending it back, it broke off. Let me find those. I think I have 2 of those, or is it just 1? So this one, I haven't replaced it yet. I think I'm just going to not have... I'll put a scope on there eventually, but I have 7 of these guys, and again, it's 3 per squad for OPR. Anyway, where is it? This one? This one, yeah, there we go. This one has like a Nerf-looking scope on it. I tapered the scope to like... because like some of the... a lot of the 40K scopes, a lot of the newer ones, have like a... they're sort of like angled on the end. Need some water. Oh, yeah. Water is so good. Please excuse me, I was burping. Anyway, I could have sworn I had another one. There we go. Okay, so I have 2 where the scopes were broken off. And, my policy when it comes to fixing stuff is that if you're going to fix it, make it look different than the original. So that way, well, one, in this case, I'm just going to make the weapons a bit more unique. So it's a tiny bit more visually interesting. You probably won't notice the different scopes as you're looking at this one. But for this one, I went a bit fancier. Now I have 2 of these tubes, and they're both angled at the end. But I decided to have a wire go from the back of this one, and then have it go into the body of the Laz Cannon. And the reason I want to do that is because a lot of these scopes, like if you look at it, it's pretty obvious that it's a piece that was slapped on the side. Whereas here, I want to integrate it a bit more. Oops. I want to have it be a bit more integrated. So I have the wire go from the side piece and like swivel, sort of like a letter S style, over to the main body. And that way, it looks like it ties it in a bit more. It's not just 2 pieces that are parallel. They're actually tied together as one whole unit, one gun, one Laz Cannon. And in case you're wondering why this dude has X's on his head, that's because half of these guys, so 3 of these guys, are going to be for my Dark Angels army. In my Dark Angels army, I've decided that they're all going to be unhelmeted, because I want to take on the challenge of painting a whole unhelmeted Space Marine army. So all of my Dark Angels are going to be unhelmeted. So I'm going to have to cut this head off at some point. I should have done that before I put the Laz Cannon on, but you know what? Hindsight's 20/20, and my vision is not, because I didn't think to do that, so yeah. And speaking of Dark Angels, I have my Dark Angel Elite guys. I'll find a role for these guys in my army somehow, and if not, they look cool. So these are Grey Knight swords, again from my friend. I'm just repurposing them because why not? So on this dude, I think the heads here, so these heads are from Etsy. I bought some 3D print stuff from Etsy before I got a printer, but the pauldrons here and the backpack here I 3D printed those myself. So yeah, these weapons were a pain in the butt to fix to these guys. This one's fine. But I actually had to cut these weapons like partway down the handle, and I think I actually shortened this one down. It used to be like the hands used to be further apart. And I had to rotate the hands, like, if the hands are holding onto the weapon, I had to rotate them like this so that I could actually affix them to the arms. As it turns out, Yeah, kit bashing weapons being held. Sorry, kit bashing weapons that are being held in two hands. A lot more difficult than a weapon being held in one hand. Because with one hand, you know, you just sort of glue them on. Well, except for this arm. That's a bad example because I actually totally reposed that that elbow. But yeah, most guns, boop de boop. Oh my god, they're like barrel of monkeying. Yeah, most guns you just slap them on and you're good. But these ones, I had to be a bit more creative and try and find ways for these arms. Not to mention, I only had limited arm poses too. I had a whole bunch of extra arms, and I was trying to figure out which weapon poses work with which arm poses and try to match those with the body pose. Yeah, there's a lot of fitting pieces together and see how they fit together. But I'm very happy with how these sword brothers came out. I don't know if that's what they're called. Now these guys, for my Dark Angels, hoods are fine, masks are fine, as long as there's nothing covering the cranium. I'm counting it as unhelmeted. So this guy, you can only see a tiny, where's my knife? You can only see a tiny little section of his face, but technically he's unhelmeted. So I'm counting it. And I have a, so a while ago I made like 6, I was working on Sternguard Veterans like, I want to say almost 2 years ago. And I made some custom like cloth for like hang from their belt to make them look like Sternguard. I made 6 of them because I guess I always make like extra in case like one doesn't turn out well. But they all looked okay, so I finally used the 6th one. I used 5 of them on my Sternguard, which I'll show some other time, I guess. And I used the 6th one here to make this guy look more like a fancy sword wielder kind of dude. So yeah, this guy has 3D printed parts, clay, a lot of polymer clay, and plastic. Excuse me. Drinking water and I'm burping from it for some reason. Okay. Like some of these guys have like metal, polymer clay, plastic, and yes, we got pewter, plastic, polymer clay, and printed resin. A lot of P's there. I had to make that joke. And this guy's arm is a bit loose. It's still loose because I want to keep it loose until I glue him onto the base. That way everything is flush. I think I am going to have the head a bit lower than the feet and the body because that's just how it seems to want to rest. And that's okay because I can model the base so he's resting a bit higher. Oops. He's resting a bit higher, and then maybe there's like a hill in front of him and the head is on the back of the hill, so I might like shave the back of the head to be the bottom of this head to be angled so it like fits on the angled hill. And that'll make it look more interesting because like having it sitting on a flat base is one thing, but having it rest on a hill will make it look more dynamic, more like it's actually just resting on the hill as opposed to just glued onto a flat surface, which looks a bit conspicuous to me. And I keep forgetting to mention it, but I keep adding these little dangly bits, pouches and stuff to my various guys. I want all my Dark Angels to have like this kind of pauldron on this on their left shoulder. I want them all to have like extra trim on their left shoulder, just to make them different, I guess. Lean into that knight aesthetic. So these two have 3D printed ones. I have like 20 of these pauldrons that I copied with a rubber mold. So like I think this is the pauldron I copied, or it's identical to the one I copied. And I have like 20 of these in polymer clay. I don't know where they are right now, but anyway, I love this. He's like, I love using the hands that aren't like combat hands. So where is that guy? The dude who had the Auspex scanner. I could just cut it. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Not cutting this bit. So yeah, the open hand. So I find it hard to use open hands, but I thought it'd be cool to use it like this, where he's like waving over. He's like looking at the scanner. He's like, okay, men, follow me. You know, that kind of thing. He's like waving over the troops to like it's like you know, the fist is like stop, and then open hand is like come on. I don't know anything about like military tactics. Everything I know about the military is from like, you know, sci-fis and stuff I've watched. But anyway, I like using the non-combat hands. So like hands that are not holding weapons. I think they add a lot of flavor to your army. And like dudes holding swords are cool, but this guy looks way cooler. He's clearly the one in charge. He's like, okay, man, next target's over there. Is the target a person? Is the target a city? Who knows? Yeah, I'll probably glue this like further into place once I'm done with it. I've avoided gluing purity seals on a lot of my models, but for a lot of these guys, I decided to add on a bunch of my extra ones that I haven't been using. My first ever squad of what do we call them? I said it before, tactical marines. I actually bought a new box of tactical marines when I was in 9th edition. I didn't know that you could buy stuff on eBay. Anyway, all the pouches and purity seals I kept off because I thought I'd paint those separately and then glue them on. Big mistake, because I never glued them on. So when it comes to details, when it comes to all the physical everything, putting them on the base, details and everything, I do all of it before priming. Flocking too. Grass tufts I'd probably do afterwards, but sanding, like putting on the sand, all the basing bits, I do everything before priming. That's just the way I like to do it. Okay. And here we have another dude with a Grey Knight sword, but this guy is meant for my Ultra Skulls army. He is not unhelmeted, and he has, well, thing there. Wait, let me. No, it's still. What is that? It's like a piece of 3D printer residue. It's like a white thing in like. There we go. I don't know. Anyway, but he has the little skulls on his backpack. So this guy's part of my Ultra Skulls army. I think this body came from, or at least the torso. The torso and the fabric in front is connected to the front of this torso piece. It was from an eBay lot I got a while ago, and I think it's supposed to be like the company champion. So he has this little shield because he's like the combat dude. He's like the best of all the melee combat experts. And I gave him a tilt shield that matches his little icon on his chest, because I thought that'd be cool. I guess he's supposed to have a shield that matches this too, but this guy only has a sword. OPR doesn't seem to have rules for shields for Firstborn, with the exception of some Dark Angels Terminators, because I guess the new ones had the shields. Sorry, my mouth is getting really tacky and dry because I'm so nervous. I get nervous every time I record. I wasn't nervous during the last video, but I'm more nervous for this one for some reason. Anyway, the tilt shield is made of more of that hobby grade plastic card. This is such a vibrant yellow, oh my god. It's sort of like a normal sunshine yellow, but on the camera it looks like neon yellow for some reason. Anyway. But yeah, I beveled the edges of those so I could actually glue the two tilt shield halves slightly angled to each other. So it has that angled appearance. This arm, I guess it was like cut. I don't know if it was like, so the end of the forearm, the wrist of this forearm was angled. Either it was meant to hold a gun that was like meant to be two-handed, or whoever had this arm before me cut it like too close to the wrist or something. But anyway, I had to extend it with a bit of plastic card, and then I shaved it down so like the end of the wrist or the end of the forearm is now parallel to the beginning, where it's like perpendicular to the, direction of the forearm. And then I just have another Grey Knight sword here. And actually something really cool is that this sword is not attached to the hand, as you can see there. If you can see there. This sword is loose. This is another holding hand meant to hold a bolt gun. I cut off more of the thumb and bent it inwards more severely than with the missile launcher dude. Here's the missile launcher dude. So yeah, these hands that are meant to hold onto bolt guns are really useful for holding onto other things. So if you want to kit bash some stuff, you have some old, tactical marines that are holding the bolt gun in both hands. If it's the multi-pose kind, you can take the bolt gun out of the hand and repurpose it for stuff like this. I mean, I can't think of any other Space Marine model where like dude's holding like his sword in the other hand too, or he's like holding the blade. But there probably is one. But I think this is really cool. I probably should like plastic cement this down there, or maybe I won't. Can I take this arm off? It's on a peg, so let's see if I can take it off. Okay, I broke this off, so I'll have to cement that back on later. But I'm not giving up. I want to see if I can take this off. Hopefully I don't break anything. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I can take the sword and slide it in and out. I don't think I broke the thumb. I think it's fine. So I can slide that in and out. I think that's cool. So I'm gonna pop this back in. And now I have a broken mount. But you know what? If this broke off now, at least it's gonna, I'll probably super glue it back on, or maybe I'll use plastic cement. But I'd rather it break now and then fix it rather than like, then it break off during the painting process, because that's the worst. And this guy has another hole up here for a banner pole, because all of my characters, so every squad in my Ultra Skulls army is going to have a banner pole with a banner. And that includes the individual characters. So this is a character model, right? He's like a champion, he just goes by himself. And he's going to have his own banner pole. So I'm going to have a sea of banners. Like, let's see, we got 1 banner, 2 banner, 3 banner, 4 banner, 5 banner, and at least 2 of these guys are also going to have a banner. This dude is going to have a banner. This dude's going to have a banner. So lots of banners. It's going to be a sea of banners. I'm on the fence as to whether I want to put banners in my Dark Angels too, because it's a lot of effort. But I'm getting better and faster at doing them. So maybe I will do that, and just all my Space Marines are just going to have banners. Not like every Marine, but like every squad. I think that'd be fun. Just like the spectacle of like that 3rd edition goodness where you see like tons of banners on the Space Marines. Yeah. Now I have one more character before the final Marines, and this guy is pretty cool. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a lot more kit bashing with this dude. One of my eBay lots came with some stuff it wasn't supposed to have in it. Sorry, not eBay lots, Etsy lots. I got a lot of bits from Etsy, and it didn't come with the bits I wanted, some of them, but it did come with some other bits I didn't order, like this eagle. And so I have decided that this guy is going to be he's going to have a bunch of eagle iconography. I have a Space Marine that has a ton of pouches on him. Like, I have a Terminator who has like 34 pouches on him. I put as many as I could fit. But this dude, I want to have him have as many eagles on him as possible. So I have an eagle on this pauldron. This pauldron also has an eagle. So that's like, with this one, that's like 3 eagles. I want to kit bash the front of his face to have an eagle. So I'm thinking, I like the Screamer helmet, but I want to take the eagle from the forehead and put it on the Screamer helmet. So I might cut the heads in half and swap the forehead. I've done something like that before. I also want to have a face shield that's shaped like this. This resin head, unfortunately, is like 10% too big. I bought some heads on Etsy, and they're slightly, or maybe even like 15% too big. That really bothers me, the fact that it's so much larger. Yeah, I can't use these, maybe for statues. Anyway, let me quickly assemble this dude. So I have a polymer clay arm here. I copied one of these arms with a 2-part Oyumaru mold. So the arm is sort of wonky, but once I paint it, it should be fine. And I think you're going to be looking at the thing on his sword rather than the arm. So this dude, just like the Shakespearean guy here, just like this dude has a weird pose, and this is the most exaggerated, like, misassembly. Is that what you call it? When something's assembled, like, not correctly? I mean, just look at this guy. There's no way this guy can be holding a bolt pistol. I mean, if I take this arm off, actually, let's take both these arms off. Oh wait, no, the pegs are reversed. Crap. But yeah, I mean, you can just look at this guy. Like, I wasn't sure what to do with this guy for a long time. I was thinking of sawing the body in half. And speaking of sawing things in half, I forgot to mention, where is he? This dude. It's hard to see, but on the back of him, so there's like a belt that goes all the way around the bottom of the torso, the bottom of the chest for Space Marines. On this dude, it was missing, so I took the bottom of a shoulder pauldron that had been cut off. I forgot why. I cut a part of a shoulder pauldron off. So this is the trim of a shoulder pauldron, and I have some plastic card on top of that, and that is filling in the back of the torso. You can see more of that plastic card there. So yeah, I had to do extra work. I have a picture of it. I'll put it up if I can find it. but I had to put the part of a pauldron here to fix the gap in the back, because it was like, I guess maybe the legs were ripped off or something. I don't think I'm the one who ripped the legs off. I don't think so. But yeah, another thing I had to fix. Just tons of things I had to fix with these guys. A lot of work was put into these dudes. But yeah, you can see this dude. So like I was looking at the body and I'm like, you know what? This dude looks like he's holding something up with his right arm. So that's what I did. I put a power sword on here. Now I'm thinking of replacing the power sword with this one, because this one has an eagle on it. And I want as many eagles on this dude as possible. Whoops. And I also put the work in to have, so this is a Tyrannid, a Termagant head. I have a tongue here I sculpted, it's just sort of hanging out, pun intended. And I have a piece of armature wire, and I take my, in case you wonder how I make these, I could have sworn I showed it in one of my videos, but I take my armature wire, I take one of these, and I actually press it, I press them into the wire, but I only press enough to make a groove, and I sort of I rotate. I'm not going to cut my finger. Actually, I'll just use this. But as I press into it, I rotate the thing. So it actually puts grooves like 360 around the armature wire. Hope I didn't dull this. Anyway, this is mostly like this isn't like a cutting tool. It's like a pressure tool. It's like using pressure to cut, so it should be fine. But anyway, and these that's to make the individual vertebrae of the a spinal column, and then because the armature wire is thinner in these grooved sections, I can actually bend it a bit more easily, and it only bends between the vertebrae, so I get that nice sort of like spinal column look. And I angled them so it looks like so basically the top of this spinal column is supposed to be sort of parallel with the head, sort of, not really, and then it's supposed to curve a little bit due to gravity. So so basically I'm using the curvature and the angling it towards gravity, the direction of gravity, to try and make it look like the thing is like wiggly and you know, just like soft, and like try to make it look like it's actually dangling. Because the best way to make something look like it's dangling is to have it like, you know, have a little bit of like curvature or something in it, I think. But then also have it point down towards the gravity, you know, due to gravity. Anyway, the thing I want to show you though, this is not like you might think that I cut the sword in half and glued it on both sides of the head, but that's not true. I actually stabbed it through the head for real. So I actually had to drill 2 holes in here, and then I widened it with my hobby knife. My hobby knife is beveled, sort of, like it tapers towards the end. I really wish I had a hobby knife that was like longer and skinnier and didn't, you know, like I can only get this so far in before it stops. So it was quite a challenge to widen those holes all the way through this head. But I should be able to put this on this other sword. Let's try. Can I fit it on? The answer is almost. I just have to widen it a bit more and I'll be able to slide it onto this head. And then I'll have it on this other sword, and that'll look even cooler with all of the, you know, with the different little text on there and stuff. But yeah, this guy's going to be like a whole project, I think. Oh yeah, the other arm, I almost forgot. This is the other underslung gun, and this is also a Primaris bit on a firstborn dude. So he's holding the sword up, right? And he's got his gun down here. So I think that looks really cool. That's just a cool looking pose. He's definitely going to be a captain, because I can't waste a pose like this on like, maybe on a veteran sergeant, maybe. But this guy's going to be a whole project. I want to put as many eagles and eagle iconography and stuff on him as possible. As you can see, I don't know, this is just a coincidence that this chest just happens to have the eagle aquila, but as many eagles as possible. Eagle aquila, eagle shoulder pauldrons. I have a resin eagle here, and once I get the new sword, that'll be 5 eagles. Once I get the eagle on the head, that'll be 6 eagles. And I just want to have as many eagles on this dude as possible. He's gonna be the eagle guy. All about eagles. Genetically modified 2-headed eagles. Yeah. So I almost forgot, I have this other power sword that has an eagle What's it called? Oh, I know the word. I know the word for the thing at the bottom of a sword. I'm blanking on it right now. Oh my god, what is it called? What is it called? Someone put it in the comments. Pummel. Sorry. I think it's called a pummel on the bottom of a sword. It's like to keep the sword from, like on one-handed weapons, is to keep the sword from like flying out of your hand. Anyway. Yeah. Now among the last things here are tactical marines. Can't have a Space Marine army without tactical marines. Unless it's a Primaris army. So really quick, I'm just gonna blast through these guys. So yeah, just like various bodies and guns just thrown together. My grav guns, my gravity weapons. So I haven't done it. Have I done it on the gravity cannons? Let's check. Where are my gravity cannons? That's not a gravity cannon. That's not a gravity cannon. Where are my G cannons? Where are they? Wait, yeah, there we go. That one. So on my gravity cannons, there's a hole here, and I don't like that. Now, I don't remember. I think it's the Tactical Marine box. I don't think it's the Devastator. I think it's the Tactical Marine box cover. I'll pop it up if I can find a picture online. I should be able to find a picture online. Anyway, but on the front of one of the Space Marine boxes for like 9th edition or whatever, the gravity gun does not have a hole drilled. And I was like, is that a mistake? And then I thought about it, and I'm like, wait a minute. Gravity is not a physical projectile. You don't need a hole to shoot gravity. Essentially, like think about it. Sidewalks and ground, like the Earth does not have holes for the gravity to come out of. The Earth does not have gravity holes. Magnets don't have magnet holes that the magnetism shoots out of. So it makes sense that like a gravity gun to me would have a solid tip with no hole, and the gravity just sort of comes out of it like magnetism out of an electromagnet. So for that reason, I want all of my gravity weapons to have no hole in the end, because I think that's cool from a sci-fi perspective. It's like in Ender's Game when the laser guns actually had like a glass prism at the end of the gun, which I thought was really cool. It makes me think like, why don't Star Wars guns have like glass prisms at the end of their laser guns? That's cool. Yeah, I think some of these guys are from Assault on Blackreach. That's with orcs, right? Anyway, some flamers. Someone gave me this 3D printed shotgun, so I put it on this dude because I'm like, why not? It's 1-page rules. It doesn't have to be. It's gonna be a proxy for a bolt gun. It's fine. Maybe I'll put this guy in a stern guard. Sorry. He has a elite shoulder pauldron, so this guy's gonna be a stern guard, and that's why his gun's a bit fancier. And yes, I drilled all those holes and include in all of these 1.5 millimeter studs. Did the same for this guy. So yeah, I think there were like 2 days where I basically drilled in a whole ton of these studs, ball bearings. And I actually have 4 sets of legs I drilled these studs into. I don't want to do it again. Like I did this like 2 years ago, these studs, and I haven't done pretty much any since. Well, except for this dude. But like that's only 3. Like how many studs are on this dude? Let's count. Wait, we got 1, 2, 3. So that's 3. That's 9 plus 4 is 13. And then we have 1, 2, 3. So that's 12. That is 12. So 12 plus 13 is 25, I think, yeah. So this one dude, has 25 studs on the legs. And I removed one because he had a purity seal, but I could have just carved that off. Don't know why I kept that. Is this the same? No, okay. These legs are a different sculpt, so they don't have the purity seal, or if they did, I carved it off. There might have been a purity seal here, and maybe I carved it off. Not sure. Anyway, this dude, this is some milliput I forced into a mold, and I just cut off the the ammo case and replaced it with this one just to make him look a bit more different. And this dude also received one of the Mark 6 backpacks. As purely because I didn't have enough backpacks, I had an extra Mark 6, so I'm like, I'll just slap it on. This guy looks like he's a veteran of the heresy with his magazine and his backpack. He's got some studs on his helmet too, looking pretty cool. I try to put bolt pistols on my guys when I can, because every Marine, every tactical Marine is supposed to be armed with a bolt gun and a bolt pistol. Not all of them have bolt pistols. It's fine. I usually try to only put the holster on when they have their pistol drawn. Wait, does this guy have a pistol holster? Well, he doesn't have a pistol. How about this dude? Yeah, this dude does not have a pistol holster. Maybe that's his dedicated weapon. He's a sergeant, so whatever. And last but not least, I have two 3D printed dudes. So these are both free. They're from different things. The heads I got from Etsy. The backpack I got from Etsy. I mean, like, that is that's a plastic plasma pistol, and then everything else. So the pauldrons and the body and the gun here are from just like, I think it's like Cults 3D. Is where I got my STLs. They're free. You have to put the supports on yourself. That's the thing with most free STLs. But yeah, this dude was pretty much all one piece. He did not break, even though I was using resin. Because of my resin and the way I was cleaning up my first several prints, he almost broke several times. A lot of my stuff broke, but this guy's turned out okay. Once I paint him, he should look fine. But I don't remember if I mirror imaged him or not, but these guys, they have, again, like, masks and hoods are fine, but they are technically unhelmeted under their hoods. So they are fine for my Dark Angels army where no one has a helmet on. And they both have plasma weapons. And I love how this STL has like the old school plasma gun. Or plasma pistol. That's nice. And this guy, I have to say, like, this one's meant to be Dark Angel. It has like the sword for the Aquila. Anyway. Yeah, most of my stuff, oh my god. Again, most of my stuff is just plastic Marines. So many Marines. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. I'm gonna be painting up these guys at some point. Maybe I'll do a lore video where I like visually paint them and I read off lore while I'll do it. I don't know. Mouth is really dry. Again, thanks for watching till the end of the video. If you made it here, I hope you got some inspiration to kit bash your own Marines, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.